Hello, hello, hello. We're so happy to have you here with us. Once again, we are live, large and in charge, but this time we're in person. Hello, Amber.
I know we get to see each
Oh
other.
my
Hi
goodness.
guys, how are
So
you?
we are so excited to have you. It has been a crazy, wacky week, but in the best way possible. And this is what happens every year as we lead up to the holidays, right?
It gets I would imagine we're all feeling it like pressury, right? It gets so much pressure
So
going
I don't
into
know
it.
what's going on, but we're
Yeah.
happy to have you guys
Yeah.
here with us. So today we're actually super excited. We're going to be talking about kind of basically 5 problems that first-time home buyers, or really any home buyer, never sees coming, right? These are things that people just didn't anticipate. They had no idea. They weren't thinking when they were doing this, that, or the other. So we're going to run through 5 things that we see happen every single day in our industry and what we're doing. My name is Laci. I am your Las Vegas realtor and Las Vegas bestie. This is Amber Coleman. What would we call you? Your Las Vegas loan officer and wizard to game planning
One
you
of your
into
clients calls me the Wizard of Summerlin.
Wizard of Loans and Wizard of Summerlin. You're like the Wizard of Waverly Place, but in Vegas. So we're super excited to have you here again. So it is Wednesday. We're going to be going live again on Friday. This time we're going to do a little holiday fun. We're going to give you guys a chance to ask us any questions. So don't forget to tune into us on Friday at noon. I think we're going live at noon again. We're trying to go live twice a week for you guys. We're doubling up.
There's a lot of information to give, and we're
sharing
giving it
good
all.
info with you. So this coming Friday is going to be a live Q&A with some little holiday fun. We're going to have some holiday, maybe some giveaways, some fun stuff like that. So we'll talk more about that. But let's just jump into this. All right, Amber?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, Amber's been doing this for a lot longer than I have.
Are you going to age me right now?
No, only because she started when she was in diapers.
Oh, there you go.
See, you
I
didn't give me a chance. But one of the biggest things, Amber, I think that people, when you get the thoughts of, oh, somebody said it's a good time to buy a house, and the first thing you do is what? What do you do when you want to think, maybe I should go look for a house? What's going on in the housing market?
You go checking online, right?
Yes. You go to Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, I don't know, Realtor.com, all the websites that claim to have all the information about what it is means to buy a house right now. National level stuff. But what they don't realize is a lot of times people think they know what they can qualify for, right?
Yeah. So the biggest way that people set themselves up for failure is they start looking online, and then they start falling in love with these houses that might be a little bit out of the budget. And, a few people will find something that's below the budget and then can go above, but most people will find things that are a little bit above the budget. So then your heart set and your mindset on, I want this house, and then we get you qualified, and it's a lesser house. And then
it's a constant, I don't know, just disappointment, right?
Yeah. It's like that expectation thing. We have our high expectations, and then you have to bring them down.
And it doesn't help that like Selling Sunset and all those shows that are on TV and on Netflix get you dreaming a little dream about, oh my God, wouldn't it be amazing
houses,
to live in those multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar houses? We want that for you too. Trust me. We all want that for everyone who we work with. But inevitably, we can all afford to live in those $1 million houses. So I like to dream a little dream. I love watching online. I love looking in MLS. I love looking on Zillow, but I only do that knowing I'm dreaming a little dream. I do not ever do that thinking it's time for me to buy a house. Let me see what's out there. What the best first step for you, the one thing, the biggest mistake that you make, the thing that you don't see coming, is that best first step is always going to be get pre-qualified. Now, a lot of you guys may say, I don't want to get pre-qualified. I don't want them to run my credit. I don't want to ding my credit. I'm not even ready yet. I'm just looking online. That's great. But if you're serious enough to be looking and trying to find out neighborhoods and looking a little deeper to look at areas you might want to live, you're ready to start talking to someone like Amber. So what I like to say to a lot of people when you guys call is, I don't care if you call me now or if you move here now or 10 years from now, I want to be the person that you talk to now. So same thing goes with Amber. Like, we don't have to do a hard hit on your credit, right? When you call, we could just seriously have Amber look at us as in a soft way, right?
Yeah. So what a soft pull is like, just like when you guys look at your credit online, that doesn't show up as an inquiry in your credit report. So you don't have to worry about points. I can do the same thing, pull a soft pull, get a good idea of where you are at, so we can see if there's a game plan we need to come up, or if you're ready to go right now. Like we could do that without having to do anything that would put it on your credit or show up. If that makes sense.
I think a lot of people just assume I can't call a lender till I'm ready because I'm going to be pressured. They're going to be calling me. They're going to be asking me if I'm ready. Even if you know you're not going to buy.
We're not pressuring.
I mean, I hope that you can tell. I pressure a little bit. Like, you better call me at that phone number right there on the bottom of the screen if you're thinking about buying, right? But at the end of the day, even if you're not but a year out. Like I have people calling me that aren't moving till next year or even the year after, actually, and even a couple years after that, which is totally okay.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to have the same job, if you think your income is going to be somewhat similar, the only thing that really is going to be a big factor is going to be how much money you've saved between now and then, but also what the interest rates are, right? So Amber can help you do scenarios for what those things might look like. So you can get a really good ballpark idea of, I qualify for $500,000. Cool. I'm not really comfortable with that $500,000 payment. So I'm going to maybe bring it down to $475 so that I feel better about what I'm making. But it gives you more tools in your hands to be looking within the range of what you're qualifying for, and gives you a chance to really look at, if you did up the budget, what's the difference in the houses you might want? If you did lower the budget, or what kind of negotiations we need to do.
Well, you know what? That's another, you just brought up a great point with the payment, because if you're looking at certain houses, you might not like the payment and you might want to go below that too. So
right. Just because you qualify for 500 doesn't mean you like that payment.
Yeah. Right? And set expectations. And then we can talk about market movements and all kinds of stuff so that you're, you walk into it a little bit more educated. Even if you're not looking to buy for a year, at least you know what to look for. So
the lesson number one is, the one thing you didn't know was coming is that you basically might be setting yourself up for deep, deep disappointment or just frustration, or really not having a clue, right? So what we want you to do is, first steps first, text me at that phone number on the bottom of the screen, or click the link in the description or the pinned comment. We'll have a conversation. We'll chat. We'll see what's the deal. And then even if it's 10 years from now, I still want to say hi. I still want to meet you, right? And then we'll pass you over to Amber. She'll talk to you a little bit about your scenario specifically, and then you can go shopping and have a good time, and then call me when you're actually ready. The other thing too is, you don't have to use Zillow and Redfin and all that. You could actually, once you know your budget, have me set you up with actual listings from MLS, which some of them are on Zillow. Not all of them are. P.S. Not all of them are.
Live
and
too.
It's live and immediate, versus Zillow, it takes time to aggregate, right? So just keep that in mind. So lesson number one is, don't go shopping until you know what your budget is. You can dream a little dream, but if you're even coming close to sort of considering, what's the neighborhood? Where do I want to go? What are some questions? You're in a place where you need to be talking to us, right?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Okay. Number two, and this is one that I don't know that most of you guys, I think people are getting smarter about how online marketing works and how all of that. But like, I'll tell you what, for the last couple of years, some people were so frustrated by the time they called me because of what we're about to tell you, that it was like, oh, I wish I would have done something or told you. So this is our chance to tell you. Anytime you submit your information online, I'm not talking about my form to me. My form is a private form. It's not on my website. It's a private Google Doc, so that it's not able to be stolen from anybody, right? My information is private. The information you give us is always private. We don't share your information with anyone. But that is not the same for Zillow, for Redfin, for Realtor.com, for any mortgage calculator, anywhere online that what you want to find out what you qualify for. The minute you submit any of your information, you're going to be bombarded with 500,000 phone calls from realtors, from people who want to sell you their loans, from people who want to talk to you about moving, from moving companies to, I mean, you name it, your information is being sold and divided and sold and sold and sold again. Am I right?
Yeah, I see it all the time. So before people will call me, right? So not all the time, not everybody does this, but I see it happen a lot where they'll go on and they'll put it in, like maybe to Zillow.com, and say, okay, I want to get a quote on this, right? So they're selling your information to all kinds of different lenders, and they do the same thing, like just with all the things that you said. And so by the time they're like, okay, I got to talk to somebody I trust, and they call, their phone is blowing up. They're in such a frustration level.
And they don't know how to get it to stop. That's the other thing.
Well, you can't get it to stop because the selling continues and continues and continues.
Yeah, those lists are sold and resold and resold. I've gotten phone calls from something I did accidentally 5 years ago that are still, where did you get my phone number? And they have to disclose it. And then they tell you, oh, we got it from, you filled something out on Zillow. No, I didn't. Trust me. No, I didn't.
Yeah. So to take down your frustration level and to help you out a little bit, like go to the trusted source, right?
1, 2, right here.
To be able to get, because if you're going to do it online, you're going to be frustrated because you're going to get so many different calls.
Absolutely. The other thing too is, so many people try to do house hunting on their own, even for rentals, right? And I know it's difficult with the rental market. I know it's difficult to get answers. Trust me, I know. I'm dealing with a rental client right now who it has been a nightmare trying to just get the people who he's going to be renting from to reply to us with information. So what I don't think a lot of people realize is, when you go to an actual listing on Zillow, for instance, and you go to the bottom, it says, contact me for more information about this listing. That's not the listing agent.
Yeah, it's so tricky.
FYI, that's not the listing agent. If you want to know the listing agent, you have to actually dig all the way down.
For the ad.
and they pay a pretty penny. And what happens with Zillow and with all the realtor.com is there's these programs that they sell to us as realtors as well as to lenders, where people who are trying to get leads, basically, who want to be able to get their business going. They will sell us thousands of dollars a month we pay to be on what they call it's called like round robin phone calls, robocalls, to where if you push a button that says put me in contact with someone like a realtor about this listing, it'll go through whoever's paid that thousands of dollars. The first one to answer is the one that gets the business. And so it's a really frustrating component.
I'm glad you're like saying everything that happens though,
it's just really hard
because people, there's so much frustration and all of it's for money, right? Like people that are paying for these ads or paying to, and
and listen, good for them for paying for leads. It does work sometimes. There are people that when you answer the phone, you're able to get the business. But what inevitably it becomes is you go into a database that now all these people have access to your information, and you are getting peppered up by 50,000 realtors.
Yeah,
so if you want information about a specific property, send it to me. My phone number is right on the bottom of the screen. Let's talk about it. What you're looking for, what information do you need about that property? Now, if I'm going to give you the information, I'm going to want to be your representative. And that's kind of the deal that we have to make. But if you're starting to click around and try to call 6, 7, 8, 10 realtors, you're not going to get the same answer. It's definitely not going to be the realtor who's listing that home. And a lot of them, unfortunately, will pretend as if that is their listing and then call the other person to get the information that they need to give you, just to keep you on the line and to keep you as a possible lead for business.
Sneaky.
It's very sneaky. I'm not a fan of doing business that way. I'm fortunate enough that we've spent a lot of time over the last 7, 8 years building this channel and what we do to build a trusted network. But I'm telling you guys, please, for the love of God, please, if you have information that you need to get on a rental property, or if you want more information on an area, or if you see a house that looks amazing and it went under contract and you want to know, send it to me. Let's talk. I will work with you. I will find out what's going on. But I absolutely don't want you clicking I want to get me more information, because you're going to get bombarded with emails, bombarded with text messages. Oh my God. And bombarded with phone calls. The phone calls are the worst. I don't even answer my phone half the time.
It's hard because then you end up having to filter through all the scam, like the scam likely ones, likely ones or whatever.
Yes.
If they call on one of those numbers. So it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
So 2 things. Number 1, don't go shopping without knowing what the heck you are qualified for. It's soft pull. We can tell you, even if it's 3 years in advance, we can tell you what you kind of should be looking at. Yeah. Number 2, please don't submit your information on the mortgage calculators or on any of those websites to get more information. We are the information right here. We got you, boo. We got you, boo. All right.
Do.
Amber, what's number 3?
Number 3, not being able to close on time or at all due to not understanding the process or the listing to the lender. So here's a story that I have. So there's a client that was shopping around, right? It wasn't one of my clients. She ended up calling me shopping. So she was already in process to buy a house.
What do you mean by shopping? What was she shopping?
So she was shopping the rate. She was shopping rate, fees, everything.
So she got into contract. So she found a house.
Got a
pre-qualification, because she wouldn't have gotten a contract without it.
From somebody.
In contract, and then she started to call you to see what you could do for her lately.
She was calling me and 10 other lenders to see what more she could do, like what she can gain, fees, everything else. So she was trying to work the system for a good 15, 20 days in contract. So
after she was in contract.
So remember, when you write a contract on a house, you're given typically 30 days to close. So she didn't realize that she had signed a contract that had all of these dates on it that protect her money.
Who was her realtor? Who was that realtor? I want to know, first of all.
So then when she's calling me, I'm like, wait, how long have you been in this process? So I'm trying to help her to see, you need to pick who you're going with right now and go, because you probably already passed all those dates. Well, at the very end of the process, I didn't take the loan, but I kept in contact with her. And so what ended up happening is she went way too long. By the time she gave her paperwork to a lender, there was problems with her paperwork.
She had already passed the timelines that she could get her money back and cancel.
And she didn't give herself any time to be able to deal with any problems, and might not have been dealing with the best person to handle the problems, because you got to look at that stuff too. And she ended up losing the house, the money, and the earnest money that she put down. So there's certain time frames that you have to be able to stick by. And what I would say is, if you're going to shop alone, it's never a bad idea to be able to shop, right? To be able to see.
We want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples.
Getting the best deal out there, right? So it's never a bad idea, but do it before you go into contract.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence before you start really getting serious about writing a contract on the house, because the protection of your money is the most important thing. The last thing we would want you to do is get into contract on a house and then something happens to the earnest money that you put down, or any money for that matter, because there's appraisal, there's inspections.
So she lost that money and lost the house because she did it backwards. She didn't follow instructions. So really, that is our number one goal, is protect your money, protect your assets, protect your privacy, of course, but beyond that, then protect you, right? So there's levels of protection, not even levels, there's layers of protection that come in this process. So when you are looking, the whole point in me saying reach out early is not only, number one, we want to be a part of your journey the whole time, right? But it gets you in the right step of the process to go through. So it's my way of basically hand holding you through, saying, okay, now that we know each other, now that we know what we need and we want, okay, I know your timeline. Now we must talk to Amber. Now that we've talked to Amber, if you want to shop around, now that you see what Amber is going to give you, feel free to do that. But we will not be writing any contracts until we know the loan officer you're going to be using, the company that we're going with, and really what your loan looks like. Because actually, as a part of, you breach the contract if you change any and all of that after you go into contract. You can, but you have to keep the seller in the loop on what you're doing when it comes to your loan, so they know that things have changed, right? So if you go in claiming you're a cash buyer and then 10 days in go, we're going to do a loan instead, there's a required legal conversation that needs to happen. And so she didn't listen to her lender, essentially. And everybody, the other thing is,
know the processes or whatever it was. Like, you always try to think that it's black and white. And sometimes in this world, it's not as black and white, because if you have problems with the way that your employment was or something like that, there might be a little bit more work that's put into that. That's beyond the black and white world.
I love that. So again, it's not about you needing to know everything. It's about you trusting the people you're working with. Hopefully it's us, right? If it's not us, we both understand. I had a client the other day said, hey, we bumped in and met this lady. She's a realtor too. We're going to work with her. I said, great. Let me know if you need any help. Like for us, it's really not about hoarding you. It's about making sure you're educated about the process. And that kind of leads into the next step, actually. So again, I'm going to reiterate all of them as we go through. Don't go shopping unless you know what your budget is, and you don't have to do a hard pull to find out that budget. You can call us. We can give you guidelines to think about. Number two, do not submit your information online. You're going to get bombarded with a billion phone calls, and most of the stuff you're clicking is not going to send you to the person you think you're going to. So there's that. Not being able to close your loan, or not understanding, not being able to trust who you're working with and understand the process, the steps that go into it, is basically the one we just talked about. Listen to your lender, listen to your realtor, please listen to us. But the next one is really understanding those timelines for the process, whatever, when it comes to rates, paperwork, and approvals. So I know when it comes time for us to write an offer, this is basically how it goes. You got to get that pre-approval first, right? So you guys have to start your process with Amber. Conversation starts with me because, well, who doesn't want to talk to me first?
I know. Who would not want to do that?
And plus, because I know some of you are like far out, right? So I don't want you to feel like you have to wait to talk to me before you get to talk to Amber. So we always talk first. I want to start the relationship. Amber's my trusted lender. We've got several that we work with. Amber's the one that is awesome and brave enough to do these amazing videos with me, and she's my fave. So really, once you start with Amber, she's going to help educate you on, okay, here's what I need from you. Here's what's blah, 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 blah. Once we get that paper from her that says you're approved for this much money, and you guys all nod and say that's what we want to go for, it comes back to us, then we can start shopping. But that's not it, right? Then it goes into, okay, now we found the house. Okay, great. Here's the deal. Here's the timeline that we need to close, 30, 60, whatever the days are that you and me have agreed on that we're going to propose. Here's the number of days we have to like pull out if for any reason you want to pull out after your money's deposited and all that stuff, because there's literally a timeline for everything. It's timeline to write the offer, timeline for them to reply, timeline for us to get into escrow, timeline. There's 2 days or 3 days you have to get your money into the bank, or they won't pull the house off the market. Then the clock starts as well for getting your due diligence done, getting all of your inspections done. There's timelines for when you can pull out of the contract and not have to explain why. You just get your money back and we move on with our life. But those things are super important, and that's our job, my job, to help you understand. So really making sure you understand those timelines and that process. I like to do an email with my clients that basically outlines everything. Things shift a lot during a transaction, right? Like, as well as I do, let's say you get an inspection and we need a few extra days to decide what we want to ask for repairs, or we need a few extra days to get a plumber out there to see what the cost is really going to be. So things do change, but initially we send an email that says, here's the deadlines that you need to be aware of. We're going to help call you and keep you on task for all of this. But a lot of people don't pay attention, right? They assume I'm in contract on the house. Here's my information for the request for repairs. But other than that, they just want to go to sleep and start packing and thinking about moving. We need you to stay engaged with us the whole time and listen to us. When we ask you for something, we need it back. What do you think?
Absolutely. The other thing to keep in mind when you're looking at the timelines too, is when you go into contract, you have an interest rate and we lock in the rate. So like there's also that timeline too. I mean, we all help watch this, but we educate you along the process too.
Because your payment could go down or up, right? If you don't lock it, your payment could be definitely.
The rate. Well, you have to make sure we're locking it at a certain time too. And then closing it within that time period. Because usually when you lock it, it's 15 days to 30 days. So there's timelines on both sides of it, which is important to have like a trusted advisor, so that you make sure
always
that
thinking about
somebody's
you.
watching after you, to be able to make sure that you don't miss anything and educating you along the way too.
Every single day. And a lot of times people read the contracts and things like that wrong. So they think, well, I have 5 days to cancel, but that's 5 business days. Well, you don't have 5 business days. You have 5 contracts, actual calendar days, right? Some things are calendar days. Some things are business days. It's all written into our standard contracts that we have to abide by. And so because we do this in and out every single day, it's our job to educate you, but we need you to not only listen and understand it, but do what we ask you to do, right?
Exactly.
So, all the things that we've already talked about, these are things that, first-time home buyers are just, always setting themselves up for disaster. Even any home buyer setting yourselves up for disaster and things that you just don't see coming, right? The other thing that a lot of people don't see coming is a lot of people misunderstand those deadlines and timelines we were talking about. So specifically to purchasing. So the deadlines for buying a new home is very, very different than the buying a resale. The deadlines for being able to cancel is very, very different than being able to cancel with the resale. Deadlines for getting your inspections done. Everything is so different.
And you're almost kind of like a contract advisor almost, because contracts are intimidating.
Absolutely.
But you help walk people through how to like read them, do them, know what dates you have to do this, know what dates you have to do that, all that kind of stuff.
That's the whole point, is it's our job to make sure it's done by those dates, but it's your job to listen and just understand them and respect them, right? Respect them and respect our opinion when it comes to, hey, we got to really get that done. Hey, we really got to get that done. You'd be very surprised that I know it's overwhelming. Relocating, we do 99% relocation on my team. So relocation, really difficult, very overwhelming. So we really do everything we can to try to make that a simple, clean process. It's not always perfect. We're not perfect. We're human. But I'll tell you what, losing your money, risking your money is something that we'd never do, right? Losing your house, risking your house is something we never do. All the other stuff can move up, down, left, or right, but our job is to protect that. So understanding those timelines, respecting them, and really paying attention to those timelines with us, super duper important.
Exactly.
Let's read, what's the next one? We've got a little list here, little notes, and then we're going to get to your questions at the end. If you do have questions for us, by the way, drop it like it's hot in the comment box below. We would love to answer your questions. Make sure that we're here for you guys. It doesn't have to be about today's topic. Today, we're just simply talking about 5 problems any kind of home buyer, even first-time home buyers, don't see coming. So that's all. We're having some fun with that today. But talk to me. What's the next one?
So what really happens when you cancel the contract?
Oh, I love this one.
Let's talk about that.
So most people don't see this coming. A lot of people think I'm getting a lawyer. That's it. They canceled. Easy, right? I'm getting a lawyer. No, you're not. Yeah. Can you? Of course, you have the right to get legal representation. But in our buyer's contracts, especially for resale homes, there is a very large clause that says that you and the seller both have to agree to go to mediation to try to solve the issue before we move on to getting lawyers. So a lot of people, and I've even had clients who are so upset at the experience that was really nobody's issue. It was just a misunderstanding, or the seller's being a butthead and that, doesn't want to make the repairs, and they want to cancel, whatever. So when you cancel the contract, you have already agreed in writing, and so have they, that you both agree to go to mediation, which is a formalized process at the real estate division, that you go in and you guys sit in front of a mediator, an assigned mediator, and that you have to go back and forth and try to mediate this before anybody's allowed to go and pull legal action, or anybody's encouraged to do that. The other thing that happens when you cancel a contract, and a lot of people don't know this, is everyone has to agree to release your earnest money. Now, let me just be really clear with you.
That does get tricky.
This is the worst part of our contract. I absolutely hate it. I think it's dumb, but I know why it's there. Here's what I mean. So let's say I wrote a contract on a house for you. You're stoked about it, and we've got 5 days to pull out, or 7 days to pull out for any reason at all. All right. So we get getting close to that. We're on day 6. and you get the report back saying there's a huge water leak, and we talk to the seller and they say, screw you, we don't want to fix it. Take the house as is. It said as is in the listing. And you're like, I literally don't want to buy a house with a huge water leak if you're not going to do the work, right? So you on day 6 say, I want to cancel. Even though you had up till day 7, right? You had 7 days to cancel. I'll say 7 days to cancel. Day 6, you canceled. We put the paperwork in on time. It's timestamped. We did everything right. That seller can be a butthead because they're pissed that basically you canceled on them, and now they have to go back through the selling process again. And they can do this and cross their arms and sit back and say, well, I'm not going to sign that document to release their earnest money. The title company is the one who holds your earnest money in escrow. So basically, when you go into contract, you send your $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the money is, to hold the house, to show in good faith that you're going to go through this process, right? Mm-hmm. That nobody touches that money but the title company. I don't touch it. The other agent doesn't touch it. The seller doesn't get to have access to it. So it sits in an escrow account. It doesn't matter that you definitely did everything right. If that seller's being a real butthead, they will not release that money to you until he signs or she signs that document saying, I agree that we are canceling this contract. Now,
so who fixes that? Mediation?
So mediation. So then you got to go through the mediation process even for that sometimes. And I've had it happen. I've had clients, they had a big rift. They showed up at the house. They actually met the seller, which you're not supposed to meet them. They got into an argument. Now everybody's mad at each other. I'm over here going, why didn't anybody call me? What's going on? Right.
Crap.
And because they said something offensive, right? It's days of our lives. Here's the problem. Here's when that becomes a real issue. If you're on a timeline for moving and you need that money to go into a contract on a new home, you're screwed. And you have to go into mediation. Mediation can take sometimes 4 or 5 months to get into. It's that far scheduled out sometimes, right? So then your money is sitting there 4 or 5 months until you're waiting for that mediation. You're going to win because we've got all the documents and the timeline saying what I just mentioned. We submitted it on day 6. They're just being a butthead. They wouldn't sign off, but they can sit on that money until until the mediation is done. So there are evil people in the world that do those things. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me, but a lot of people don't even realize that's a thing. So what we try to do in our team is really build a really strong foundational relationship with the other agent, get a really clear understanding of who is this seller before we go into contract. Who's your seller? What's their personality? Tell me what they're like. Are they easy to work with? How's your experience been with them? So that we get a really cool understanding of like what we're walking into.
You're right, because they need to be interviewed just as much as they try to interview the buyer.
Absolutely.
On the buyer side
so
too,
we cannot always foresee someone's head popping off, right? I had a client recently that I definitely didn't. I had a client that I did not see coming. We had a client that we did not see turning into the monster that they turned into. But this is just what can happen. So even if we do our job and every check mark and every dot is I is dotted and T is crossed, they can still be buttheads on the other side. So we really work on a relational level to make sure it's done right, make sure we're staying ahead of those timelines, and make sure that we're telling everybody what's going on at all times. And as long as you're listening to us, like we said, and you're following that, you really very rarely get into this situation, but it has happened. It's happened on my watch, and I've seen it happen on other realtors' watches. We've gotten the money back because we always stay ahead of the timelines. We never put your money at risk. Here's how much we don't put your money at risk. Let me just tell you how much we're not willing to risk your money. I've had clients in the past that, we're waiting to hear back. I'm waiting to hear back from them, Guys, it's 11:40. And if we don't submit this and sign it and send it over by midnight, your money is now at risk. They can keep your earnest money. So I need you to sign this document.
You're staying up till midnight.
I'm staying up. Of course I am. Are you kidding? So I have genuinely sent at 11:45 a cancellation because my client's not happy. They're not happy. And I have to automatically cancel your contract in order for you to save your money. Week doesn't mean that you cancel, doesn't mean that you can't get back into contract and keep things moving. But to protect your money, I have to on purpose cancel your contract if the timeline's running out and nobody wants to make a decision to protect your money. So this is stuff that we have to make decisions on every single day. And most people don't even know we're thinking about that, to be honest with you. So please, please, please understand the due diligence, listen to your lender, trust your realtor, and then understand what really could happen if things go sideways. You can't just run out and get a lawyer. And the other component that I didn't mention was, let's pretend it's the market we were in 2 years ago.
Okay.
Where houses are flying off the rack and the prices are just going up, right? You're in a position where you got to get a house, right? Or maybe you're not in a rush, but you don't want to pay more, right? So you're now in a position where that money is just sitting in escrow that you could use to put down on another house. You're now being forced to wait 3 or 4 months where the market's going up. So now you're paying more for a house when it comes time to actually getting into contract and things like that.
Oh, geez, I'm getting anxiety.
I know. I'm telling you, this is stuff we deal with every single day. So Basically, what you don't see coming is you can't get a lawyer and that they can keep your money anyway. Not keep it, but they can tie it up for sure. So please listen to us. Let us know.
I mean, it's good to get, like, I don't think many people know what you're talking about right now.
They don't.
All of the stress that goes into the back end, because there's so many people that you're having to keep happy.
Well, when you know as well as I do, when you do this job, we are working with two things. People's emotions.
Yeah, it's an
and we see the worst and the best of everyone. And I love you all, my sweet clients, but I see the worst and best of you because it's the highest, the biggest, most expensive thing that somebody's ever going to buy. The highest level of risk for these people, right? So you're dealing with money and emotions. Those are two things it's a real hard balance, right? So if you're thinking about getting into real estate, call me. Let's talk. I definitely want to talk to you and see if I can help guide you. But this is something you need to be aware of. So that's really what we wanted to talk to you guys about. The real message here is this is why reaching out to us early and often matters. I'm not kidding. I probably 100 to 200 calls a week, depending on the month. And I will 30 minutes a call for the most part. And I will answer your questions. I will cheer for you. I will get excited. I will do my best to get you.
She's a really good cheerleader too.
I'm a great cheerleader.
She's like the best cheerleader. Is that what you did in high school?
No, they asked me to be a cheerleader, but I didn't want the reputation, if you know what I mean. So I got the reputation anyway. No, just kidding. I didn't know. No, I was a dancer, not a cheerleader, but I can dance my way into your heart. But either way, it's my job to start the conversation and build that trust in that relationship. I want to meet you. I want to get to know your dreams. I want to be a part of that conversation. You then get to talk to Amber.
And it's my pleasure to talk to you. And it's my job to work that game plan, to help you see the financial benefits, to help you see the numbers, the monthly payments, to walk through, okay, where are you comfortable? Here's what you qualify, where are you comfortable? And then, or to even set you up and say, okay, here's what you need to work on in order to make this dream happen. Like, again, there's always a how, right? We don't need to know. We don't need to know right now, but I can help you to see the steps to be able to get to that, how you get into your house, how you make your dreams
There's
happen.
A reason she does the numbers and I do the shopping. Okay. There's a
then we send you back to Laci and you get to do the fun thing. Then you go shop.
We play ping pong a little bit, but it's fun and we try to make it fun. And listen, this is not really a fun process to begin with. Like, this is scary. So we do our best to make it fun. But all that being said, please reach out to us sooner rather than later. I don't care if you're not buying a house for 10 years. I'll do a call with you. Let's talk. If you're coming to visit Vegas.
And who doesn't want to be friends with you?
I mean, right? Hello, right? So that's the bottom line, is reaching out to us matters. Building a relationship with us matters, because when you are in a sticky situation or you're in a position to where you're ready to start shopping, you want people who already know your story, who've taken notes on what's going on, who have been keeping track, who have been really kind of cheering for you along the way, and who have diligently shown up every freaking week, sometimes twice a week, on the damn internet to the freaking world at large.
To the
world at large.
This is major.
To continuously bring value to you. This is what we want. So I'm going to review the 5 once again, just so you guys know.
Do it.
5 things you don't see coming when you're starting to shop for a house. Number 1, shopping online. You're going to set yourself up for failure if you haven't called us and figured out what you actually might qualify for. You may think you know, plus your payment, right? You may think you know, but you have no idea. So please don't use mortgage calculators and all that. Please don't go to Zillow and start clicking, I want information on these houses. That's number 2, because you're going to get called and bombarded and you're going to be sold time and time. It's like trafficking. Okay. They're going to traffic your information and there's never a good thing with trafficking. It's like so you're being trafficked. It's so gross. So don't be in the gross, be in the good. So don't shop online without knowing what you can qualify for. When you're shopping online, please don't click the buttons and put your information out there. Please, for the love of Pete.
Limit your information online. Limit it.
Side note, when you submit information to us, it is always protected. We never sell your information. Please, please, please come to us. Please, when you're in process, listen to your lender, listen to your realtor, know who you're working with before you get into contract, especially the lender. Don't go shopping around after you're in contract. You will lose your money.
Do the shopping before you get into contract.
Understand your timelines, respect your timelines, and definitely just get an idea of what's going on when it comes to what is it, chicken or the egg? What comes first, right? The next thing is due diligence and timelines, listening and paying attention to. If I say we've got a deadline, we got a freaking deadline. We got to meet that deadline. And then the last thing is understanding what truly could happen and the risks involved with going into contract, the process involved with getting your money back if somebody's going to be a butthead, which doesn't happen often, but it happens. And understanding that it's all going to be different. It's going to be different with the resale than it is for new homes. And the other thing I wanted to say too is a lot of people think that they need to have a lawyer review their contract. We're not a lawyer state, meaning you don't need to have a lawyer involved.
You have to have that, yeah.
But some people elect to have a lawyer review the contracts anyway. I'm just going to be very frank and open. I'm not allowed to tell you not to go to a lawyer, but I'm going to let you know that it's a waste of freaking time. And here's why, and money. They're not going to change the contract. These are legally bounding contracts that we are required to use. The builders have their version. They're not going to change anything for you. They're just not. You either say yes or you move on. We can negotiate price. We can negotiate terms. We can negotiate certain things. Same thing with resale. But the legalese and the documentation and the words that are in the contract, get over it. That's the contract. Either accept it or don't buy a house. That's the reality. So I'm not allowed to tell you not to go to a lawyer. Please feel free to go if you feel the need and you want that gut check. But oftentimes people come back to me and say, well, my lawyer has redlined the contract and wants all these changes. And I say, congratulations. We're not even legally allowed to change that contract when it comes to what's going on the resale side. If there's like something you don't like about the terms of the contract, we can negotiate, but we're not going to negotiate what the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors has deemed is going to be working for everyone. Right. So I even had somebody once try to, this was the worst conversation I ever had to have with someone. There was a listing person who was doing the listing, selling their home with me. And I quickly realized this is not the right client for me. I actually ended things with this client after this conversation, but he looked at the contract, and in the contract, it says, we're not allowed to discriminate against anyone for any reason at all. There's lots and lots of, this is fair housing, right? We're not allowed at all for any reason. And he was very blatant about the type of people he wanted to sell his house to and the types of people he didn't want to sell his house to. And I quickly ended the conversation and said, I'm so sorry. I'm not even legally allowed to come have a conversation beyond the fact that I'm not breaking. I would never ever do that anyway. But on top of that, no, we cannot change the contract. You are not allowed to discriminate against anyone. And even if you were to go sell your house on your own, you could be held liable for discrimination if they found out that that's what you were doing. So, so even down to the nitty gritty of that kind of stuff, you can't change it. So just understand it. Understand what it really means for you, layman's terms, and terms of contracts is all you have control over.
Price, terms, that kind of stuff. Language, not so much.
Yes. All right. So anyway, so long story short, we want you to reach out to us. If you're thinking about buying a house, if you're thinking about moving to Vegas, if you're thinking about selling a house, I want to know. I want to know today. So there's a phone number that's been scrolling down at the bottom this whole time. We would love to chat with you. Text me anytime. Call me. Happy to chat with you. Texting is usually faster, just saying. And then beyond that, there's also a link in the description and the pinned comment. So every now and then phones don't work and texts don't come through or whatever. So just reach out in any way that you can see necessary. If you don't hear back, then there's probably didn't get to me. So definitely click a link or do whatever, but we would love to chat with you. We've got quite a few things coming in here. So we are definitely going to run through some of these questions. Thank you for popping in here to this.
Oh, Sammy
Bowen, who is the newest client who's been following us for ever 5 years.
Has it been 5 years?
Sammy, how long you been following us? Sammy is now
to get you in a house.
Ready to buy our house. She is one of the people who reached out early. We built a relationship. I'm gonna cry. I gotta take it off. I'm so excited about getting to shop for a house with her. We were just texting last night. Sammy,
it's gonna be a happy day.
Congrats on your pre-qualification, babe. We're so happy for you.
But we're still working on it, but it's almost
there, babe. Yeah. Almost. No, she's making moves, girl. That's a
congrats. She is making moves. That is definitely a congrats.
Cheryl says, I'm watching from Michigan. Hey, Cheryl. Thanks for tuning in. Shelly, hey, Shelly. Amber, it's Shelly. She said it's Shelly Murphy. Hey, Shelly. Good to see you. She says, wish we could have talked today. Let me know who you would recommend. So we're going to chat with her after this. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Cheryl says, thank you for the information. Sounds like a nightmare. It can be a nightmare unless you have people like us working with you.
You got like the people that I hear of have nightmares are because they haven't made the right choices in who they've worked with.
Yes. No, there can be nightmares as well with stuff that we're doing. Definitely. Don't get me wrong.
Things that are beyond our control, but you don't want to add to that.
No, we don't want to add to. Let's make it an easy go. Michael says, what's the best website for commercial property? So if you're looking for commercial properties, Michael, my team actually does commercial. So I would love to work with you on that. I have some of the best commercial agents in the city that are tied to my team. And I do a little bit myself. We use LoopNet, and there's a couple that we pay for that are only accessible by realtors. But we would love to set you up and send you some information on what you might be looking for. So click the link. I would love that. I would love that. Shelly says it's absolutely right. Hard to find good reputable people. Well, you found them now, guys. So don't worry about it.
Get y'all set up.
Oh, Michael's saying very good information. Thank you. You guys are the best. Thank you. All right. Let's see. David says skip the inspection and cost, but I knew 2023 home I buy a new home like I did in Symmetry Trails, Cadence, DR Horton. The neighborhood is amazing. David, that's awesome. I was actually just showing Symmetry Trails yesterday. They're cute condo or townhomes. They're really, really cute. Cadence is a gorgeous neighborhood and it's really growing. I was there yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I could not get over how crazy it was. David's right. If you buy new, you don't have to worry about the inspections, although you still can get one. And sometimes I recommend it. So let us know. Let's see. Is it easier buying with builders? Good question. It's not easier when it comes to the lending part. Would you like to touch on some of your lending comrades?
So here's the thing with the builders. So, because the house is depending on what house you like, new or resale, right? But with the builders, a lot of them are giving incentives because with the current market of rates, they're trying to control the industry, right?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're buying rates down with the lender. And most of the time it's the lender that they own.
Yeah.
Because then they could double side this thing. So you're going to be dealing with a lender that's owned by the builder, in most cases, some cases not. It's just a relationship to be able to get that rate. Sometimes that's not the most desirable way to do it because those are people that are moving people fast and don't really have the time to look deep into a situation.
And it's not fun.
Sometimes you run into problems. So there's been many times where I've had clients that go buy a builder and I'm not the one doing the loan because they get a better incentive. Then I will always be straight up with you and tell you,
we always do.
You're going to be in a better place by using this lender, but they'll come to me and say they can't figure this out or that or this out. So then I help them and help them to say, here's how you figure it out. So go tell them this.
So Amber actually often is educating for free, mind you, for free. She does not make money. It's good karma. The lenders in the city that don't know what to do or don't have time or are overwhelmed or just aren't educated like she is. So when I say we're often bringing hope on a lot of levels, but also education across the board. I do the same thing with other realtors. I have realtors call me all the time. What would you do with this deal? How would you handle this? I'm in a contract. I don't know what to do. And I don't know everything, but I know if I know a little bit more than them, I'm happy to help, even if I'm not being paid. So it is a little easier when buying a new home with the builder when it comes to inspections not needing to really be a huge part of the process. There's no repairs needed. There's not really a lot of back and forth. So yes, it can be a lot easier to buy new. It's also, hey, it's nice. You get to build a brand new house. It's all yours, there are easier and harder parts of that process. So, it's almost like I tell people, if you're going to take the incentive from the lender, of course, Amber wants you to do that as well. We want you to do what's right for you. It's going to come with some pain in the process. So you're paying for the pain a little bit, and we try to do our best to make it easy. So great question. JF wants to know, can we talk about how starting a new business and opening new lines of business credit can affect the home buying process?
JF, great question. So starting a new business, awesome that you're going to go out on your own and start your new business. When you're going for a loan, so like if you're going to buy a house shortly after after starting your business, keep in mind that the only way to calculate your income when you have your own business is to look at your tax returns. So we'd have to see what you show as income on your tax returns by the end of the year. So, and then a lot of times it takes 2 years tax returns too, especially when you just started your business, because we got to see some longevity there for it. So just keep that in mind when you're starting up a new business. And business lines of credit, was that the next question?
Yeah, it's like basically the same as any kind of loan, right? It's going to look at debt, right?
Some of the lines of credit that you get, it depends on if you have to personally guarantee that line of credit, because then it's going to show up on your credit report. Or if it's just a straight business line of credit and it's just on your business, because then a lot of times we don't see it. If it's just on your business, that's going to be reported on tax returns and stuff like that. So it depends on the type of loan and whether you have to personally guarantee it.
Yep.
Because then it'll add to your debt ratio if you do have to personally guarantee it.
I love that. That's really, thank you, JF.
Thanks
Great question. You're the best.
Questions.
Oh, Sammy says, Laci, what is the best real estate school in Nevada? Okay, so Sammy, if you're asking about real estate school, are you thinking about getting into real estate?
She's looking to switch over. I love it.
Maybe not. Maybe she's just being a good question asker. So there's a few that I like in town. Let me just be very straight with you guys. If there's anybody watching this that's thinking about getting into real estate, I don't care if it's in Nevada, or in Zimbabwe. I don't care. I wonder what they do in Zimbabwe. That would be interesting.
I always have to ask
Work
anywhere I
trip.
go, like, how does real estate
Yeah.
work? What are you guys doing?
If you're thinking about getting into real estate at all, I would love to do a phone call with you. So please text that number on the bottom of the screen. Let's talk. I love giving advice to new realtors. One of my favorite things to do. For a long time, I was so busy with building my team, I didn't have time. I have a little bit more time now for that, and it's my favorite thing to do. So let me help inspire you. Let me help get your head on straight. When it comes to real estate schools, the one thing that everybody, even I, had the wrong impression of was that real estate school is supposed to teach me how to do real estate, right? When you go to school, you're learning how to do the job, right?
You're learning the laws.
You're learning how to pass the test is what you're learning.
I guess that is true. Like,
you're
just how to pass the test.
So if you're thinking about doing real estate school, just know you need to have a solid mentor. It would be best for you to have a solid mentor, yours truly, outside of the school once you get licensed, to show you the way, to make sure you don't get yourself into any trouble. It's really scary, and it's very easy to mess up, and it's very, very easy to put yourself and your client at risk. So definitely want to make sure you have someone strong. I am mentoring people across the nation. I actually have somebody even in the Philippines that I talk to. So I'm letting you guys know. Yes. So I'm letting you know, if you're thinking about getting into real estate, yay. Let's talk. I don't care where you are in the world. I want to help educate you a little bit about it. Each state has its own laws. Each country has its own laws, but real estate's real estate at the end of the day. So let me help you guys. The one that I like the most in town, and it's only because I like it because they offer an online version, is Key Realty. And they also run deals a couple times a year, but
they're probably the most popular one, I would say.
Because they do online. Most people don't want to go in person. There's a couple though. Really, really good question. Mark from Wiki Watchy. Is that how you say that? Wiki Watchy, Florida. I watch all your videos. Love them. Thank you, Mark. I just wanted to figure out how to say Wiki Watchy. That was really funny.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a place.
Wiki Watchy.
That's a road trip right there.
That's a work trip. Mark, we're going to let you know.
Yeah.
Matt says, do you ever run into issues with getting back or getting the loan or due to liens on property?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah. There's been some people, like I can think of one recently where the seller had a tax lien that he wasn't aware of on the property. And so it was trying to get that situated. Yeah. You know, I'm sure you've ran into them a lot as well.
A lot of times. So we have different types of liens. So there's mechanics liens, which basically are, let's say you had a pool put in and then you and the stupid pool guy got into an argument and then you said, screw you. I don't like what you did. I'm not paying the bill. Well, he has the right as a business owner to put a lien on your property so that he will get that money back if you sell your home. So for that amount of money, because you agreed to go into business with each other, you agreed to contract him for your work. He did the work and you didn't pay the bill. So there's mechanics liens. There's also solar liens. So like if you put solar's a real
pain in the butt sometimes. I'll say it out loud.
So here's what I say it out loud. So in next year, we actually have, we're going to see if we can bring a solar expert to come in and talk about this, and also an appraiser in to talk about this on live with you guys. But if you put solar on the property, that's another lien. If it's a leased solar, if you pay it off, cool. But I would hope you wouldn't sell your house within 10 or 20 years, because that's how long it's going to take to recoup that money, I guess, from energy saving. So that's another lien. So yeah, we do run into those. Typically they can be handled for the most part. Tax liens have been an issue. That we just require that it be paid off. For the buyer representation, we require that the seller pay it off in order for us to close. And they usually are required. They're going to do it, right? They want to sell the house.
They have to do it. We have no choice. Have a clear title.
Yeah. So, just so you know, that is a big thing. Like, we will not close on a house if we know there's lingering or cloudy anything over it from the previous. And there's even title insurance actually that is purchased on your behalf through the title company that makes sure you're protected for that stuff even after the house closes for a while. So something to be aware of. Good question. Oh, Richard DeToy. Hey, Richard. Good to hear from you. Great information and advice as always. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Richard.
Matt Smith coming in hot again. Matt, I want to meet you. I just want to give you a big
old
hug.
You always have the best questions, Matt.
Do you live here,
we
Matt?
We definitely need to meet.
Matt, please say hi to me in person. What's the most common thing you guys see that gets properties stuck in escrow forever? I've never had one stuck in escrow forever.
Probate is hard.
Probate's tough. So if someone passes away and doesn't have a will and doesn't have something set up for them, that takes 6, sometimes 9 months.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of another one.
No, the only other thing would be,
you know,
I had something come up one time where both the seller and the buyers wanted to be in contract, but there was some stuff. I think it had to do with the tax issue that the guy had to go have it refile his taxes he wanted to prove that he didn't owe the money that was the lien on the home or something. So he asked for the buyer to give him 60 extra days. And then after the 60 extra days, he got another 60 days. So he was trying to fight with the IRS while we were in escrow. I kept advising, like saying, let's
That's
just pay it
fine.
off and let's close, and you can go fight them after. But I think
Yeah.
he really needed the money, the full amount of money from that
'Cause he didn't
escrow
have enough.
because he didn't have enough money to pay. So, he didn't have enough for what he needed to do next. So that kept us in escrow for, oh my God,
And
what
you
felt
can
like
only
5
do that
months.
kind of thing in like big time seller
Big
markets.
seller markets, yeah,
where
so
buyers willing to do whatever.
It was several years ago, but it was not
Mhm.
fun. But that's about it. You know,
Mhm.
typically we're in and out of escrow within 45 to 60 days, usually 30, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And the only other thing that can keep you in escrow forever is if you are building a new home and a pandemic happens and things like, you know, supply
Yeah.
chains are affected and they
Yeah.
can't get the windows in and they can't get the appliances in or whatever. So those are the kind of things that we've seen, at least in my time doing this business. So
Great question again.
all right. Let's see, John. Well, you can buy your way out of a contract, can't you, if you don't want to keep it? John, that's a really good point. You can. I mean, we never want our clients to have to buy their way out of a contract. If you're in a position, you're kind of doing that by releasing your earnest money. That's what the earnest money is for.
Mhm.
So let's say you get to a contract and you're in the contract 15 days. And we're past all of the due diligence. There's no, let's say you're like 5 days before closing. In fact, we just had someone 5 days ago almost cancel their contract. So let's talk about this. So getting all the way through to 5 days before closing, and there's no way to get your money back if you cancel at this point. We've waived all of the money, all the deadlines, everything has been waived. And something happens and you just don't want to buy the house again. Or God forbid, you have a death in the family and you now can't move, or God forbid you lose your job, or that would probably be a loan thing. But like, let's pretend we've passed all the due diligences. There are ways, but really the way to buy out of a contract is to say, I will release my earnest money. I don't want this house anymore. So that's why the earnest money conversation is really a big one, and how much you put down is really important. Usually they want you to put down like 10%, or sorry, 1% of the sales price. So, you know, you get 3,000, 3,500, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. So depends on that money is at risk. Not a little bit of it, all of it is at risk every time you guys look to maybe canceling or you know, breaking the contract. The other thing too that a lot of people don't realize is sellers really don't have the ability to cancel. When they list their home for sale, they can't change their mind after they're in contract with you. What they can do is make it very difficult for you to not want to buy the house.
Yeah, they can say no to anything.
They can say no to everything.
So
they can say screw. They can make it very hard so you're forced to cancel, but they do not have the right to just cancel on you. So a lot of people get confused by that. So I think that's really, really good. Sammy says, what's the process if you don't qualify for a grant, but you're still able to get the 3.5 together via family, 3.5% down payment together?
That's just a straight FHA loan. So like if you don't fit within the income calculations or the debt ratio or whatever it is for a grant, and then you just want to put the 3.5%, that's a straight FHA loan. You can get a gift. So FHA is kind of cool because you can get the 3.5% from grants, like we were just talking about. You can get it from gifts from a family member, gifts from a close friend, then you just kind of notate your relationship on the gift letter. Or it can come from like a 401k. It can come from a multitude of different things for the down payment.
I love that.
But we'll provide a gift. So FHA loans, we have to have you and the gifter sign a gift letter. And then the person that's giving you the gift has to also give a bank statement to show that it came out of their account.
Yeah, because you can't have it as like mattress money and then hand it to your mom and say, tell them you're giving me this money, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and FHA loans are really particular that way.
Yeah.
So,
but it is possible. So yeah,
Great
girl,
question.
we got you, girl.
Yeah.
Good question. Oh, Sammy, she said, let's talk real estate, Laci. That's what I thought, girl. Oh my gosh, Mark says Weeki-Wachi is where the mermaids swim. Okay, Weeki-Wachi.
Yeah, we definitely need to go.
We gotta
there.
go. I'm a mermaid. All right, Tony says we bought a new 2-story in Foxtail, Summerlin in 2021 with a 2.87 rate. Looking for a second single story, but don't want to sell with that 2.87 rate. Tony, I hope you're talking to me about looking for that new home, man. Come on, don't watch my videos and not work with me. Let's go. He says, how much harder is it to qualify for a second if I keep it? So if he wants to keep the house, which I would love for you to do, by the way.
Yeah, because that's just a gift and a rate right there.
Oh my God.
Your payment that you pay on it, because it's so low of an interest rate, what you can rent it for, you're going to probably gain so much more.
I'll run those rental comps for you so we can see what you would make in rent, sir. But that looks like income, right?
That looks like a business right there, right? Like that looks like income. So definitely look at that way. And then if you rent that house out that you're leaving, and then you buy another house, that rent that you're getting on the house you're vacating like offsets the payment. So then you can qualify for another house.
That is the sexiest thing you've ever asked. Tony, please let me be a part of this process. I love that you have that house. Congrats on Summerlin. Beautiful area. I love Foxtail. If you're looking for a single story, there's quite a few out there. I've got a line on a couple that aren't listed just yet, but let me know if you're not shopping with another realtor yet. I would love to talk with you. Text me on that number today. I would love to chat. But that's the advice I give to every client that calls me. In fact, anytime somebody's like, I have to sell my house in Michigan before I move. And I go, do you? I mean, do you have to sell that? What's the rental market like? A lot of people, the idea of running a rental house, it's just, I don't want to deal with it. But that's what property management companies are for.
Yeah, get yourself a good
my God.
management.
And in this town, and even in
to
other
make
towns,
money is never easy, right? Sometimes you have to put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah,
right?
We're constantly, and I could make money if you sell the house out there and you use someone that I recommend because I've got a great network of trusted people. Wealth. We want you to be rich. Okay. So don't sell if you don't have to. Tony's got the right idea. Tony, smart cookie. Let's talk. Please give me a call. All right. Matt says, do you have most people get a home warranty? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes. Now, I'm not a huge believer and lover of home warranty companies because I think a lot of them are frankly bullshit and they're full of shit. I
love it how you tell the truth.
I'm just going to straight up tell you.
All the time.
But I will tell you it's better to have one than to not have one, right? So, and also same with home insurance, but her insurance is only going to cover certain things. So what we do is we make the seller pay for it. So you get that usually paid for, by the seller if they agree. If you have a pool, they can be up to $1,000 or $1,200. If you don't have a pool, they're usually between $600 to $900, $600 to $800. So it's a really nice gift, if you will, that we usually write into the contract. We are actually going to be asking a couple of home warranty companies to come on and pitch us why they're better than the others. We're going to do a little like Shark Tank kind of thing next year.
Yeah,
so stay tuned.
Fun. It's going to be excited about it.
We're stoked. We're trying to find some that are brave enough to deal with me because I'm definitely, whatever. But but when I do buy a home myself, I always have a home warranty, at least for the first year. And to be very honest, it makes sense to pay the $500, $600, $700, $800 a month or whatever, or a year, a year, when like your AC goes out, right? It definitely makes sense because if you're under warranty, even if it keeps breaking and even if you keep spending that $75 for them to come out, if it only has to break so many times before it's going to need to be replaced. And that's a fat expense.
Especially if you get the seller to pay for it.
Absolutely. Yes. Tony, did you see me on the big screen at the Raider game? Yes, that was me. Tony.
You were on the big screen?
I got to be on the big screen. I've been on the big screen a couple times. Yeah, I have season tickets, so I'm at almost all of the games. So Tony, if you're going to the games, my friend, come and sit next to me. Awesome. I'll buy you a cocktail. We'll be on the screen together, and we'll talk about your single story. Oh, hell yeah, I was dancing. I don't know what I was doing, actually. My friends and I were, I don't know, I'm on it all the time. I was waiting. I want them to do the kiss cam so I can find somebody to kiss me, but I've not been kissed in a minute, guys. I'm letting you know. So Matt does live here. Matt, oh my God, Matt, will you please text me? Matt says he lives off of Arville and Desert Inn. Matt, let's get together. Yeah. I just love you. You asked the best questions ever. Would love to meet you and just thank you for that. Michael says, can most of the new properties subdivisions run gas or is it getting phased out? Absolutely. No, gas is absolutely a big part of our new home communities. The only times they're not running gas is if it's like a townhome with a shared wall or a condo. Typically they try to put in, due to fire safety, they try to put for shared residences like that have shared walls. They do electric. But I think Michael's asking about, can they run gas for like the gas appliances?
I love it that you knew the answer to that question. Like,
I mean, I'm kind of good at this. I don't know.
I've never known that they don't do it on the shared walls.
Yeah. They used to do it for the, because there are firewalls in between the houses. I've seen them do it for townhomes, but I just visited some in Cadence yesterday, and they were telling me that they were phasing it into electric for that reason, fire safety. So all the more reason. But yeah, so if you're someone who's a chef in the kitchen and wants that gas cooking, don't buy a townhome and don't buy a newer townhome and don't buy a condo. That's going to be it. Let's see here. New townhouse, all electric. See, David says, yeah, they're all electric. That's so interesting. All electric Biden home. I didn't know that it was a Biden thing. I was under the impression it's a fire safety thing because I learned about that 8 years ago before Biden was even in office. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Let's see a little giggle here. Hello from Pittsburgh, Laci and Amber. Please hit the like button, everybody. That's right, Crash. Let's hit that like button.
Yes. Thanks for the reminder, Crash.
Hiccups. I'm getting the hiccups. I think it's time for me to eat lunch. We got gambling shenanigans. It's Mike from New Jersey here. What's up, girls? That's all the questions. Thank you guys. Hi, Mike. Thank you guys for joining us today. This is super fun. We're having a lot of fun with these new topics that we're doing. Again, Friday's going to be a fun one. We might have some giveaways. I've got some fun stuff in the giveaway closet. So stay tuned. She's looking at me like, you do? You have giveaways? Yeah.
I'm like, giveaways. Wow, what do I have to give away? I could find some stuff too. Let's work it.
So I love giving stuff away. It's the holiday season. Let's have a gift giving and some fun stuff. So tune in live noon on on Friday. You have to be live in order to receive the giveaways. And I got to figure out all the things I'm giving away, but I just surprised her with that. Would love to see you guys live. It's going to be a holiday extravaganza, but also just a live Q&A like we just did. You guys are bringing some of the best, most awesome questions. Thank you so much. We're really, really grateful that you tune into us at all times. And then after the holidays, my friends, we've got a lineup that you would not believe.
You're going to want to watch.
We're going to be doing Shark Tank with some home warranty companies. We're going to have.
Are we going to make them fight?
Like, I might do that.
Let's get them competitive.
I want them to I want them to hello sharks. I want them to do like the whole nerdy shark thing. I definitely also want them to.
We can ask them who's the snake.
Too, hell yeah. So we're gonna do a little Shark Tank action, maybe apprentice, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna have a home appraiser. We're gonna talk about, is there a crash coming? What that would need to look like. We're gonna give you Fed updates, and those Fed updates are gonna be juicy this year, guys. You do not want to miss it. We're gonna have grant program people coming online. We are busy. We're doing this for you. So the least you could do is reach out to us. And if you choose to move to Vegas, please let me be your guide. Please let us be your people who you work with. We want to build your trust. We want to start that relationship today. Happy holidays, my love. We're almost there.
We've almost made it.
We got past my birthday.
Gotta go do a little shopping now.
Got past my birthday. I'm ready to go shopping, and we want you guys to do the same. So we'll see you Friday.
Happy birthday month to you.
Thank you. You know, looking 27 never looks so good or something. We'll see you guys soon. We'll see you Friday at noon, and then otherwise we'll see you after the holidays. Looking forward to it. Wishing you guys a great week, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.